less than $100, and it works. I use my Dragon Speak. So teaching them the way they like to learn, that's what we have to do. And coaches can help with that, and educational specialists can help with that too. The target symptoms that really respond to medication, they read and remember what they read much better. It's very hard to read a book when you have 4 different things in your mind. It's much easier to read when you can focus on the page and make a movie out of the book in your mind. They cut down on the fidgeting, and we actually can measure that with the quotient machine. Because 14 and older, you're measuring the leg movement. You're measuring the head movement. They say they stop interrupting other people. They can get started and write a paper much sooner. They don't show up so late to things. They don't get such a hot temper. They don't start breaking pencils so easily. And they don't misplace things. My dad was so bright, he went to college when he was 16, graduated WashU School of Architecture in 3 years. He was a genius. If you ask me what do I remember the most about my dad, besides him being a great dad, Helen, where are my car keys? Why did you hide my car keys again? And she'd smile and go get him his car keys, because he didn't know where to put them. He didn't have a coach who would say, Ben, here's the door to the garage. We're going to put up a couple of nails here. When you walk in, you just take your car keys out and put them up on the nail. The medicine doesn't do that. We have to kind of learn how to do that. But this is what the coach can help with. Organization. Being on time. Letting things go. Most people with ADD, everything is either falling apart, the whole world is coming to an end. She's upset because he didn't take out the trash. The garage stinks. He hasn't taken out the trash in 2 weeks. She's upset. He goes to his cave in his office at the house, sits down, and starts worrying about divorce. When is she going to leave? She hates me. Life sucks. No. She's upset that there's 8 bags of trash in the garage that she has to maneuver to get it from the garage into the house. People with ADD are either ecstatic or life sucks. What coaches teach is there is something in between. So my wife and I now can do things like, I want to go to a movie and on a scale of 0 to 10, it's this. What do you want to do? Well, I want to play tennis, and on a scale of 0 to 10, it's kind of this, because I could do it tomorrow morning too. What about tomorrow morning? I don't have to work tomorrow morning. It's Sunday. In other words, we learn how to communicate. But a lot of that comes from coaching. And it does make a major difference. So listening to one's spouse, being aware of their feelings is very important. So when doctors see me going around the country and talking about ADD, and they say, I went on the ADD medicine and it really helped me. And I'll say to them, where did it help you the most? Being a pediatrician or at home? Who thinks being a pediatrician? Who thinks at home? Now their kids want them to put them to bed. The 8-year-old and 12-year-old. Because before the ADD medicine, they go to put their kids to bed, but they were thinking about patients. I even had one doctor tell me he'd put his kids to bed and he'd sit there and write charts while he was trying to tell them a story or read them a book. That's called multitasking, and what it says to your child is, you don't matter. So they would ask mom to put them to bed. Now, their wife says, thank you very much, I know you're listening to me. So the nurses couldn't tell any difference because they were passionate about their job of being a doctor. But they went home sooner, and they didn't stay there all night. So these are the kind of symptoms that coaches do. And I think it's time for doctors to work with them more and patients to work with them more. Anything else you want to say about that?
No, I think the only thing to say is that I am noticing that there's a lot of physicians that are actually really open to incorporating the coaching, the behavioral piece. They're starting to see the major impacts, not only with AD, but also with illness, or go off to chronic illness. And I have one client that's reduced their symptoms by 50%. So physicians are starting to acknowledge, finally, integrated medicine is working.
My college kids, especially if they play sports, they have a coach at the college, an academic coach. The colleges are not stupid. You know, they're giving them a full tuition ride because they play soccer for DU, or they play hockey for DU. They get a coach, an academic coach, and it really does help. We'd love to see more of that in the high schools, so let's bring back maybe a little budget for that someday, God willing. So the take-home message is ADHD is real. It's more common than we think. It can be very, very impairing if we don't have coaches, we don't have the right career, they don't teach us the way we like to learn, we don't have spill-proof bubbles, we don't have a sense of humor, and we don't have medication. It can be very impairing. Ideally, like most things in medicine, we should start treatment as early as we can. The goal is normal functioning, but not just academically. There's more to life than school. My son Danny has the greatest job in the world for him, but he still has to make sure when his clients are buying a BMW in Scottsdale that they sign on the dotted line. Because if they don't own the car. And that small dose of Adderall XR helps with the boring part of selling a car. But he has a perfect career for him.
Dr. Kaplan, I'm being mindful of about 5 minutes.
Use of consistent extended release delivery systems and all day, every day medication. And focusing on what works for your family and building strengths. Strength finders. Any questions? We have about, I thought we had till 9.
We do. So we have 5 minutes for the presentation. So just, and then we have 15 minutes for
Well,
questions.
can we ask some questions?
Absolutely. Please do.
Are ADD and ADHD treated the same
As far as for coaching?
as far as medications?
As far as medication, yes. There are people who don't have the H. People who have a lot of H will often be better with the Intuitive, which is not a stimulant. But all the medicines to be licensed by the FDA, they have to show a decrease in hyperactivity. They have to show a decrease in impulsivity, and they have to show an increase in focus. And if you take one of these home, it kind of shows how we measure it with the quotient machine, but we still want to hear from the teacher and the parents. And I'll have plenty of those at the front.
I just was going to add a question. Both of my children, I have 4, and 2 of my children have ADHD as well as mood disorder or bipolar disorder. It's hard to tell the difference sometimes, but they are on Intuitive, and I just wanted to say that that has worked wonderfully for them. And so I guess my question is, when looking at especially two of your own kids that have these kinds of things, like how, for me, I guess it's in the acceptance matter of like, you know, maybe it's just more of their ADHD, maybe it's not this, maybe it's that, and I think I'm more focused on trying to convince myself that they don't have anything than I am trying to help them, which I guess is probably a common thing. But so how do you, I mean, when you have kids that have more than one disorder, what, I mean, how do it, and they're both being treated on different medications for that as well. So it's a very sort of intense situation.
Behaviorally, you can work with them in the coaching piece, because even though they have different things, again, it depends on how young they are, but you can definitely work on some of the behavioral pieces individually and have different strategies. So it's very much something you can.
But see, this is why you're here. You want to learn more. You don't have to be here tonight. Nobody forced you to. You wanted to come here to learn about this. And the significant thing about this kind of situation is the more we know about